Hey guys, this is Chris from the Hidden Reserve, and today's video is going to be a lot different than any video I've ever done up to this point. I don't have a set topic for this video. I'm just going to keep it raw, and whatever comes to me I'm going to talk about. And usually if you're familiar with my channel or if you're new, I typically just go over different financial strategies. I have a presentation up, but for this one I'm just going to talk about whatever comes to me. So with that being said, the first thing I want to talk about is a little bit about why I started the Hidden Reserve. So one of the biggest reasons why I started this company is because I come from the financial services space. I've been in this space now a little over 2 years, and my experience with it in the beginning was very interesting, and I'll really start to unpack that and dive into what I mean there. So the biggest thing is the lack of the abundance, if you will, of misinformation that I was exposed to. One of the biggest things that I experienced was just being trained to push people in a certain direction and not truly understand someone's needs and what products and plans are best suitable for people. It was just like, nope, we got one solution. We're gonna fit everyone into that solution. And it just never sat well with me. It just always felt wrong. It felt off. And I always questioned, like, how is this possible? Like, how can this one thing, and I'm not going to name it, but if you're in the insurance industry, I'll say that you could probably guess what I'm talking about. But it's just like, how is this one solution a one size fits all for basically everyone? It didn't feel comfortable doing that. So what I've adopted now is, one, I need to get educated. I need to always keep educating myself and figure out what are the different products and strategies and solutions out there for people. And I need to understand those inside and out and just know it like the back of my hand, because if I sit down with someone, I can't just be biased towards one particular solution because that's all I know. And that's what was happening before when I got into this industry. So leaving what I was a part of before and starting my own thing, the Hidden Reserve, I have full control over how I can go about it. And another segue here is I can bring in Christ. And that's been a huge thing for me since the beginning of this year. As of filming this is 2025, September of 2025. And earlier this year, I returned back to Christ. And that is a huge part of my life. I want to share it with everyone. And I wasn't able to do that before because, number one, I wasn't even following Christ. Before I get into that, I think it's important to know I was born and raised Catholic, and I strayed away from it when I got into high school. And it wasn't until I was about 20 years old is when I started seeking truth again. And through that, I got caught up into what's called like the New Age. And I'm not going to dive into that on this video. But basically, I was deceived very heavily and pulled away from God, pulled away from Christ. And I was involved with spiritual things that I regret heavily to this day. And I do not wish anyone to get involved with what I was involved with. And through all of that, though, on the other side, Christ came back into my life, and I fully returned back to Christ in about March of 2025. So it hasn't been super long. But through that, just my whole lens on life has changed. My entire life has changed, and I want to bring Christ into the workplace more. And now that I have my own company, I'm able to do that. So that's a big reason why I started my own thing, is I had to get away from all of those practices I was involved with, and I had to jump and take that leap of faith and start my own thing. And here we are, 7 months later. I have the Hidden Reserve, and it's a financial services company that's dedicated to providing guaranteed financial solutions, and it's all rooted in Christ. And that's one thing that I never experienced before, was being a part of something where Christ was number one. Nothing else was put above Christ. And before, what I was involved with, and this is my first time really ever speaking about this in a video online setting, so it's kind of difficult. But basically, what I was involved with before, it wasn't of Christ. it wasn't of Christ, and it was kind of masqueraded to look like it was, but when you really dissected it and when you break it down, it wasn't of Christ. And that's just so important that, everything that I do with this business is to honor Christ. It's not for me. It's not for my own selfish desires. It's to honor him and get people either closer to Christ or bring them to Christ somehow, some way. And that's been a big adjustment. It's been a huge adjustment from the way I was living my life before and the business practices I was involved with to now. But I know in the end, I'm going to look back and be very just proud and satisfied that I made the decision I did to make this leap and to turn to Christ and to do what I can to honor him in everything that I'm doing, personally and with business. So that's a little bit about myself and where I'm coming from spiritually and how and why I started the Hidden Reserve. And just diving now, what is the Hidden Reserve? What do we do? So I touched on it. We focus on guaranteed financial strategies. So it's utilizing insurance-based products. And a good comparison, if you will, is the way we go about business is financially is we're putting people in the strategies, if it makes sense, of course, we're putting people in the strategies that are guaranteed to perform and do what they say they're going to do no matter what. They're all contractually guaranteed, and as long as the insurance company is still standing, and the ones we work with have been around for, most of them, 100, 120 plus years, as long as they're still around and you're doing your end by funding the policies, funding the strategies, then they're going to execute. They're guaranteed to perform in that respect. And why I've kind of niched down into that is because what I was involved with before is there's a lot of false promises, a lot of just half-truths, if you will, putting people into strategies that looked like they were guaranteed and they were going to perform a certain way, when in reality there is no possible way to with confidence say, okay, this strategy is going to deliver you XYZ. This strategy is going to give you $1 million in retirement. There was no possible way to guarantee that because it was all based on the market. It was all hypothetical, and there was other moving pieces involved. So for me and my values, and especially since I've returned to Christ, it's I don't want to be the guy that's going to lose people money. I just want to focus on the tried and true, safe, conservative strategies that I know it's if I help someone implement this, it's going to do exactly what it says it's going to do. It's guaranteed to perform as long as the company's still around, which again, the companies I work with have been around for 100 plus years. And then if you, the client, uphold your part of the bargain, which is funding the plan appropriately. So that just gives me a lot of peace of mind, and also the client peace of mind knowing this thing, once it's set in stone, there's only really one moving piece. You just got to fund it. You got to fund it. And when something happens, because we're all going to pass away, when that happens, you know that your family, your church, other organizations you support are going to be taken care of because you set this plan up. And that's just something that is so important to me. Another thing, I guess, to explain my reasoning for going that direction is I just can't stomach the fact that I put someone into something where they could potentially lose money. And I'm not a financial advisor. I stay in my lane. I'm an expert in insurance-based products, specifically life insurance and annuities. That's all I do. Will I expand in the future? Will I get my Series 65 and other financial licenses, my Series 7? Maybe. That's not on my heart, at least of right now. I want to stay in my lane. I want to be really, really good at just this. And I also, going back to what I was saying, I just don't want to lose people money. And by going the safe route, people can't lose money in these strategies. And another thing too, just piggybacking off of that, is I really just want to make sure that I'm the one who's helping people add that rock or that stability to their financial portfolio. And I'm not against stock market, crypto, real estate, etc. I'm not against that at all. And it's funny because it's just the way I want to help people is very conservative and safe. But myself, like I take a lot of risk. Like I'm in cryptocurrency. I left my last job to start this business with really no plan. I just took the leap of faith and knew God was going to lead me in the right direction. Like I take a lot of risk, but I also know on the counter side of that, I also know that it's so important to have a strong financial bedrock, if you will, that can weather any financial storm. And by talking with lots of people over time, or over the last couple of years rather, I've noticed so many people, they don't have anything in their portfolio that's guaranteed to perform. It's all market-based. And on top of that, a lot of you are business owners. It's like you're taking a boatload of risk in your business, especially you Christians out there. I know how hard you've worked to build your business to the point it is, to this all the blood, sweat, and tears. And it's like you have to have something that's going to at least mitigate that risk a bit in your financial life. And that's really what I'm focusing on. And for myself too, I guess another thing is I've always been, as I've grown older, I've realized I've always been way too risky. Like at one point I was just so heavy in crypto and I'm doing my own business. It's like I didn't wrap my mind around how much risk that actually was. And as I've deepened my walk with Christ and also learned about other strategies out there and talked to other people, I realized, I shouldn't be taking that much risk. And thankfully, like it didn't backfire on me, but now I'm more leaning towards I need to have stability in my own life specifically with my finances and my investment strategies and whatnot. And what I focus on too, tying it into that, is it's not investments. Again, it's all insurance-based strategies, and they're all contractually guaranteed to do something. Like a lot of them are, you can rely on a certain amount of income, like annuities, for example. You can rely on a certain amount of income coming in every single year guaranteed. So that just gives you, again, a lot of predictability and stability, while your other assets might have a lot of fluctuation to them. So where I come in is I look at your financial situation and see where in there can you fit something, if it makes sense, where in there can you fit something that's not going to move, it's not going to change, and it allows you to extrapolate out many, many years in the future and know I'm going to have, like, this is the result that I'm going to have. And that's where, I just find a lot of peace and joy providing that to people. Next thing I really want to cover too that came to my mind is explaining a little bit more about what are some of the strategies that I focus on. And I don't want to overwhelm you with this insurance, like this jargon that's unnecessary. I want to make it really simple, and I'm going to use analogies to explain it, or parables, if you will. It's just a lot easier to kind of picture what I'm talking about without getting too much in the weeds, because it's just completely unnecessary. So one of the strategies I focus on, imagine you've got this big oak tree, or not an oak tree, a big apple tree, okay? It's an apple tree it's old, it's been around for a long time, and every single year it produces fruit, okay? Follow me here. Imagine that tree, its roots are just so deep in the ground and they're intertwined, and it's just unshakable. No storm out there can knock it down. It's just so grounded and deep rooted that it's just rock solid. Okay, imagine that, and imagine that same apple tree every single year, no matter what happens, that apple tree is going to produce more fruit than the year before. Okay, so it's got this stability, it's unshakable, it's got the ability to produce fruit every single year, guaranteed. And on top of that, imagine this tree, there's two pieces of this. Imagine the tree, you can take apples and eat from the tree whenever you want while you're still alive. And imagine that when you pass away, there's just 10 times as many apples that go to your family, your church, other organizations that you support. That's one of the strategies I focus on, is financial products that allow you, now I'm going to tie it into the financial side, financial products that do the following. Number one, no matter what's going on in the markets, it's going to continue to grow and perform. So these are not market-based strategies. Everything I do is not tied to the stock market, okay? So these are all contractually guaranteed strategies. So that's comparing that to the tree, is the roots of the tree are, very stable and it won't sway the tree. Well, the same thing with these strategies, or the strategy I'm talking about, is it will not move with the markets. It will only continue to go up no matter what. So if the stock market plummets, real estate plummets, crypto plummets, does not matter. This thing's still going to go up. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing, comparing the fruit, access to the fruit of the apple tree to this strategy, is with this strategy, your money, it's growing safely and you have access to it at any point in time without penalty. So if we're looking at, I'm not comparing it to this, I'm just comparing some aspects to it, like a 401k. And I'm not anti 401k, just to make it clear, but one of the things with the 401k is you have that 59.5 rule. So if you're under 59.5 and you want to access money early, then you're gonna get hit with a 10% penalty for doing so. Well, with this strategy I'm talking about, imagine you can access your money at any point in time and there's no 59.5 rule, there's no penalty. So that's huge. So it's just like accessing or eating the fruit from the tree, if you will, at any point in time, because it's yours. You own it, and there's no restrictions on, when you can eat your fruit or when you can access your money. So that's another thing. And then the other thing I want to touch on is just the multiplication of the fruit when you pass away. So just like the tree example, and I know that part wasn't the best comparison. Like, yeah, when you pass away, the tree is guaranteed to leave like 5-10 times more fruit than what was on it before. Not the best comparison there, but with the financial strategy I talk about, imagine you're just eating from the fruit. It's guaranteed to continue to grow year over year. And on top of that, when you pass away, your family, your church, other organizations are going to get this lump sum of money, and it's all income tax free. There could be estate taxes depending on your situation. So that's what one of these strategies does. It's guaranteed to grow no matter what the markets are doing. Doesn't matter if stocks are up, down, it's going to continue to grow. The other thing is you have access to it at any point in time without penalty, without restriction, without having to ask for permission. And then the third thing is it leaves a tax-free, income tax-free legacy to your family, your church, other organizations when you pass away. And it's all guaranteed based on the insurance company that you're with. So that's one of the strategies I focus on and that I help people with. And it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. And that's why we meet and we discuss and see where you're at, see if I can even help. And if I can't, I'll do my best to make sure I can point you in the right direction, get you connected with the right people who can help you. Maybe it's a financial advisor you need to meet with. Maybe you don't need any guaranteed or insurance-based strategies rather in your portfolio, and that's totally fine. The last thing I want is to work with you and we put a plan in place, a strategy in place, and then a month later it's not the right fit. It won't happen, because we'll meet multiple times if needed and figure out, is this the best route for you? Is what I can help with the best route for you? And if it's not, I'd be more than happy to refer you to someone that can actually help you out and just make sure that you're putting you and your family in the best position possible. And I have a little PTSD, if you will, from what I was involved with before, because I just heard so many horror stories of people getting put into these plans, into these strategies, and then months down the road, years down the road, it wasn't performing the way that they were told. And that's just not going to happen with me. So kind of a long rant there, but I just want to make it very clear that I'm not the guy who's going to be out there that's going to make you millions of dollars, but I am going to help you protect potentially millions of dollars that you've amassed and earned over your lifetime. And it doesn't have to be millions of dollars. It can be, a lesser amount than that. But when you work with me, I'm just going to make sure that you don't lose money. And if it's like the tortoise and the hare, I'm the tortoise. I'm not the hare. I'm not the guy that's going to say you can get 20% returns, 100% returns. That's not what I focus on. It's not what I'm that's not what I'm even allowed to do, because I'm not a financial advisor. I am simply the guy, for a lack of better terms, I'm the guy who's going to guarantee you that you're not going to lose money, and I'm going to guarantee you peace of mind for you and your family. And I'm also going to help you leave a legacy the most effective way to your family, your church, other organizations. And also too, what I can help with is for the business owners out there, especially the Christian business owners, what I can help with is find ways to enhance and strengthen your business by implementing some of these strategies potentially. Like the tree example I gave. That specific financial strategy is an asset on your company's balance sheet. And it gives your business more liquidity, more money to access in the event you need to expand your business. Maybe you need money for a new piece of equipment. Maybe you need money for marketing, whatever the case is. You have more liquidity. And going back to what I was saying, like, it grows every single year, slowly, but it grows every single year no matter what's happening in the markets. That's an asset that's appreciating on your company's balance sheet. And then the last piece to that too is you can have it set up to where if something happens to you, the owner, or a key person in your business, maybe it's your CFO, a top engineer, a top salesperson, whoever is very vital to your operation, you can have it set up to where if that person passes or if you pass, your company will receive that income tax-free benefit to help keep the company afloat, to hire someone new, replace your shoes, this ultimately keep the operations monthly expenses paid for while the business is trying to adjust and figure out what to do next. There's just endless things that we can do if it's the right fit, if it makes the most sense. But most importantly, putting all the strategies aside, I just want to help people get closer to Christ, because it's been such a big impact on my life in such a short period of time. Again, going back to what I was saying in the beginning, like I grew up Catholic. I strayed away from it when I got into high school, and then when I was about 20 years old, I started seeking again, but it was the wrong path. I don't wish anyone to go down that path, but it wasn't of God, it wasn't rooted in Christ, and it wasn't until March of 2025, by the grace of God, I returned back to Christ. And now I just want to include Christ in everything that I'm doing. Business, personal life, and especially on the business side of things. It's just, with everything going on in the world right now, if you're a Christian business owner, if you're a Christian in general, like, we have to step up. And I'm not going to not talk about my faith in my business. I'm just not doing it. And if that's a turnoff, that's completely fine. But I really just want to work with those who are of the faith, are walking with Christ as well. And I just want to get people closer to Christ. And I especially want people who maybe have strayed away themselves, or maybe they've been, not doing what they're supposed to be doing with their faith, to come back, and to come back stronger than ever. Because just as of recording this, at least September 12th, I mean, it's just been crazy lately, and we need Christians to step up more than ever. So that's really my biggest thing with the Hidden Reserve and everything that I do, is I just want people to come back to Christ, and I want to get as many people as possible to go on this walk. And I'm not gonna Bible thump and push things down your throat. That's not my objective at all. But I do want to talk about my faith openly. And if you're a believer as well, if you're a follower of Christ, I wanna see how we could potentially help each other, especially. And if you're not a follower of Christ, that's totally fine. Like, it's not that I won't speak with you or meet with you if you're not. I'm just coming from, you know, who I am now and the changes that I've made in my values specifically. So yeah, that's a little bit about me, what I do, why I started this company, and I wasn't trying to get too into, you know, the strategy piece. And again, like, this was just a raw video I wanted to film. Didn't really know what to expect, what was gonna come to me. But I hope this video just maybe gave you some hope too and inspired you in some way. If you have any questions for me at all, whether it's related to the business, if it's personally about my faith, I'd be more than happy to answer that for you, have a discussion with you, and just see, you know, where we could potentially work together, at least meet and see where we can come together. So I hope this video was brought some value to you today. If you're new to the channel, please like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. God bless.